Harold Gifford thinks about the night he safely landed the NBA's Minneapolis Lakers in an Iowa cornfield.
Lights got bright, dim, bright, dim, bright, out.
All right, buckle up, get your heads down between your legs, hold on, and put a blanket over your head if you want it. We're going in.
Imagine Los Angeles being Clippers town. Imagine no Showtime Lakers in Los Angeles.
To say to our captain, Kareem, you know, that he was with us all the way. We knew it before the game. It's his trophy. I'd like to say hello to Mom and Pops and my family.
Pat Riley, on behalf of broadcasters, that's how you started the season. Your reaction?
This is it, Brad. This is it. And Kareem, Cheryl, Chris, we're beyond the party starting here, but it's going to end in L.A.
Imagine no Shaq and Kobe.
Portland has 3 timeouts left. The Lakers have 2. Bryant to Shaq.
Imagine no LeBron in LA winning title 17.
And that's it, it's over. This historic 2020 NBA championship belongs to the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers conquer the bubble, and banner number 17 will soon hang in the rafters.
Well, that's what almost could have happened after an almost tragic incident back in January of 1960. In this Mitchell Report, y'all, we go back in history to visit the plane crash that almost ended the Lakers organization, literally. The Minneapolis Lakers back in the early 1950s was really, in my opinion, the NBA's first dynasty. By 1960, the Lakers' legendary center George Mikan, he had already retired from the game of basketball, but the team still had some well-respected and recognizable names like Elgin Baylor, Tommy Hawkins, just to name a couple. But back in January of 1960, the Minneapolis Lakers went on a routine road trip that almost ended in mass destruction. So on a Sunday afternoon, y'all, the Lakers had boarded a flight to head back to Minneapolis after playing in St. Louis versus, I believe, the Hawks, who would eventually relocate to Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken. Now, keep in mind, this was the Midwest, and a big-time snowstorm had hit the city that weekend that we're talking about. So the guys had boarded the plane as usual, getting ready for takeoff. But as time passed, things got really weird. But this is the Mitchell Report, so I'm going to just let you guys hear from the horse's mouth. Shout out to the NBA History Channel, as they have an extended piece on this topic, so check out their content as well.
That January, the Lakers were on a seemingly routine road trip when they boarded a flight to go home to Minneapolis after a Sunday afternoon game in St. Louis.
We were playing cards just like any other team would do, to pass the time away between stops.
But it soon became apparent that this flight was going to be anything but routine.
I pushed the mic button to respond to the tower, and it just went, ew.
Lights got bright, dim, bright, dim, bright, out. Electrical stuff, defroster, radio, gone.
Then it started getting cold on the plane. And the guys were, hey, turn the heat up. We didn't have any heat to turn up. I mean, the plane was in trouble.
We're in not only a storm, it was a blizzard. It was bad. That plane was being buffeted like you wouldn't believe.
We started bouncing around, and boy, it scared you to death. I mean, the plane was just rocking back and forth.
The ice had accumulated on the windows of the plane, and the pilots had pulled that little side window out, and they're sticking their head out of the window to see how we're doing.
Somebody brought some razor blades up, and we were scraping that. And then about this time, the right engine started to cut out.
The pilot came in the back. He says, it looks like we're lost. That's exactly what he said, we're lost.
With the situation getting worse, the players considered their fate.
We knew we were in serious trouble. And I remember Hot Rod, we're covered up with a blanket, and he said, Slick, you think we're gonna die? And I said, hell no, we're not gonna die. But I said, if something bad happens, we sure got a good smell of the roses.
I don't know if you've ever faced impending death, but let me tell you what happens. Your breathing is restricted because of being in this really tense situation, and you're so damn cold, your body is twitching involuntarily.
I did start thinking about my wife and 2 kids. I thought, if something bad does happen, what are they going to do?
It's like Christmas lighting up out there, trying to help us to guide this plane in.
While we were circling, I spotted this cornfield. Perfect place to land. And so I said, guys, let's get this thing on the ground here before we run out of gas.
A wet winter had prevented harvest of the field, so the high stalks of corn glistened like a beacon in the night.
I had Selvey beside me, and he's looking at the window, and scratching at it, and I'm over here shivering, and he's talking. He says, it looks like a cornfield, and he says, we're going to make it. We're going to make it, man. And I said, keep talking, Frank, keep talking, baby.
At 1:40 a.m. Central Time, the pilots prepared everybody for a crash landing.
All right, buckle up, get your heads down between your legs, and hold on and put a blanket over your head if you want it. We're going in.
I was looking out the window, and Jim was calling out the airspeed, and I was telling him, you're lined up, okay, let her down, let her down.
They brought that baby down and cut the engines. No, not a sound, just the wind. And the plane was completely out of communication with everything. We had no turning back. And the plane hit like a basketball, hit the floor, bounced straight up in the air. The plane went boom, 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 boom. When the plane stopped, it was very quiet. It was unbelievable. No one made a sound, and we were just sitting there looking around at each other. And then the cockpit door opened. Here come the 2 pilots with the biggest grin in the world, and then we all just won like we won the world championship. We celebrated right there, hugging each other. We did it, we did it, we made it.
There was a mad rush for that back door to get out of that baby. We were so happy to be on the ground. We were out there throwing snowballs at each other and everything else.
Many years later, KARE-11 News caught up with the heroic pilot, and here's what he had to say.
Here's the headline.
60 years later, he still thinks about it.
How could you not?
Harold Gifford thinks about the night he safely landed the NBA's Minneapolis Lakers in an Iowa cornfield.
It is in my mind a lot. I relive it.
Harold was in the co-pilot seat, flying the Lakers from St. Louis home to Minneapolis. Lights and radio on the fritz, caught in a massive snowstorm and low on fuel.
So I had to make a pretty gutsy decision at that point.
The Air Force veteran brought the plane low over Carroll, Iowa.
Water towers are 125 feet high, and we were below that.
Outside of town, he chose a cornfield.
It was the only place that made sense. When I was a kid, I rode on the cultivator in a cornfield. You'll never find a rock or a hole. It's smooth sailing.
Ears of corn banged on the plane's belly for the length of 3 football fields.
And we came to rest, and I'll tell you, it was pretty quiet in that airplane. But once we settled down and I cut the engines, the loudest hollering and screaming you could imagine. People high-fiving, and when they get out the door, they're in snow up to their knees.
To this day, he bristles when people call it a crash.
I was totally relaxed. It's just as an unscheduled landing.
Harold still has the placemat the team signed at breakfast in Carroll the next morning.
You were able to save the lives of 23 people and then live for 60 years, a great life by virtue of having pulled that off.
At 96, Harold Gifford still hasn't stopped being grateful.
I'll tell you what, I'm one of the luckiest guys around.
All right, guys, y'all know what time it is. It's time for us to sign off on this Mitchell Report story. How fortunate we are as Lakers fans that, man, this could have been so bad. You know, not just immediately for, you know, those people passing away, but just look how much legacy, how much greatness we would have never, ever been able to witness if this thing would have really went left. And I didn't know about this story. This is really one of the reasons why I'm bringing it up to you guys, because of course, rest in peace to Kobe. When you hear anything about a crash in the air in the Lakers organization, that immediately comes to mind. But doing my homework, the Lakers had experienced something almost tragic previously, and that was back in 1960 when they were considered the Minneapolis Lakers, not Los Angeles. So, it was definitely a pretty interesting story. And wow, you never know how life can take you. Like, you on a routine road trip, and in the snap of a finger really could change your life. You got to be safe out there. And I don't really be jacking a whole bunch of planes and all that. Like if it's snowing and all, I don't even know why they would even chance it. You know what I'm saying? But that was just so far back in the day. Who knows? But this is the Mitchell Report, guys. I'm Seven Mitchell. What y'all think about the Minneapolis Lakers plane crash and how it could have almost ended the Lakers organization? Like, comment, and subscribe to the Mitchell Report. Become a member now. Check out our exclusive members-only content, including some big-time Mitchell Report videos that we got in the chamber. We definitely appreciate you guys supporting this channel, and I'll catch you all on the next video. I'm Seven Mitchell with the Mitchell Report, and I'm out. Stay safe, y'all. Peace. Be sure to smash that like button, and if you enjoy the Mitchell Report series, leave a little quick tip or donation at the Super Thanks. Most importantly, subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.